Hi everybody, in today's video, it's my first Topic Tuesday video of 2025 and I'm going to be talking about Pantone Color of the Year. Pantone Color of the Year for 2025 is Mocha Mousse, which I think is really, really beautiful. I feel like this shade has been a little bit controversial from what I've seen posted and written about the selection. I feel like a lot of people thought it was giving poop vibes. To me, I just don't think this is a poopy brown at all. I think it's classy. I think it's chic. I think it's neutral but interesting. Like, I love it on this nail pick here. I'll post the picture I'm showing you guys here because I feel like this is washed in now a little bit. I want to show it to you a little more color accurate, but I love the lipstick here too, and then I just love the makeup look, hair color, all of it. And then I found another collage of it, and just a little bit different browns. So I'll try just a little bit different browns. I'll try and post both videos, both pictures so you guys can see. But a lot of people were like, 2025 better not be a poopy year because Pantone Color of the Year is poopy. And I was like, I will not accept that 2025 is going to be a poopy year because I feel like 2020 to 2024 has been poopy enough. And so 2025 cannot be a poop year. Although with everything going on in the news, it's been a little crazy for the first, 9 days of the year. New Orleans terror attack, like that bomb in Las Vegas. There was like a mass shooting. That fire in California is so heartbreaking, you guys. If any of you guys are in Southern California, especially the Los Angeles area, my prayers are with you guys. Like, I watch those videos and it's just so devastating. Like, I can't even imagine what anybody's going through. I hope that, people stay safe and people are able to rebuild, because what I've seen on the news just breaks my heart. It really truly does. So hopefully 2025 just gets better, because it's been pretty intense, honestly. But I have all of my beautiful Mocha Mousse colors on this nail wheel. I have a few creams to share with you guys, and then if you guys are feeling a little bit more jazzy, if you just want to be a little bit more fancy pants, I have some shimmers. I don't have a lot of indie colors in the Pantone Color of the Year. I feel like a lot of the browns I have indie are a lot more deep and dark. Just because brown's not my favorite. I mean, I wear brown. I have come to appreciate brown on the nails. I'll say that. I've had an appreciation. But when I'm going to pick an indie, I feel like I'm drawn to things that are more bright, or things that are like, something kind of like this, as opposed to a brown. And if you're wondering why I just flashed you, that is going to be Bee's Knees Lacquer in the name of Hades. But anyway, I have, first to start off, from Believe Beauty, Boot Scootin. I really enjoyed this polish when I swatched it, you guys. I thought it was beautiful on my skin tone. It had a great easy peasy 2-coat formula. And I feel like this is very close to Pantone Color of the Year. It might be a little bit deeper, but I feel like it has that same sort of muted vibe a little bit. I feel like Pantone Color of the Year is brown, but it has maybe like a touch of gray in it, or something that's sort of, or a little more white. Something's making it a little bit more muted. And I feel like this has that similar effect. I really love this color, you guys. I think it's so gorgeous and just very classy, chic, interesting. I was kind of thinking of like some of these creams topped with OPI's Pirouette, Your Whistle or My Whistle. I don't remember. Beautiful white topper from OPI. And I'm debating putting that on my nails next, possibly. So I just think it would be an interesting combination. Next up, this is a polish I've had in my collection for a really long time. I've talked about it in a lot of recent videos. I've most recently mentioned it in my video of Thanksgiving food inspired polishes for turkey. And this is OPI's Ice-Bergers And Fries, you guys. Formula on this is perfection. 2 easy peasy coats. I keep saying easy peasy. 2 easy coats. I'll take out the peasy. But I just love this color on my skin tone, you guys. I feel like it's flattering. I feel like it's interesting. I feel like it does not wash me out. I feel like browns can be hard for me because my skin is kind of brown. And so sometimes I feel like that can wash me out a little bit. And so I tend to gravitate towards like the deeper browns. Or something like this is probably the lightest I go, because I feel like any lighter just really does kind of, it doesn't give me a good mannequin hands effect. It just sort of like makes me look really, really pale and washed out. So then I have this one from Zoya. So I have a PR rack of Zoyas. I've been really lazy about swatching my Zoya PR, but this is so good, you guys. It like caught my attention out of the corner of my eye while I was pulling out all these other polishes, and I was like, yes. So this one is in Ryder, and had a great formula on this clear nail wheel. 2 coats to get opaque. I'm sure on regular nails it would be similar. I feel like these 2 polishes look very, very similar to me. But then when I kind of pulled the bottles out, maybe not as much as I thought. I feel like this has a little bit more red undertone in it than this does, but they are extremely, extremely similar. So I really enjoyed this one as well. I think, again, just classy, a very nice, a very brown, very moussey. Love, love, love. And then last up, I have this one here. Maybe this one fits it the best, honestly. Where did it go? Because it has like that sort of like grayed out finish I'm trying to explain, that I feel like I'm having a hard time explaining. But this is from People of Color Beauty, and this is in OSHA Root. I don't remember what collection this came from, but I ended up picking up most of this collection because the names reminded me of my grandma. My grandma was very big into like herbs and like natural things for sicknesses, and she was really big on OSHA root. And so they make like cough medicines out of OSHA root here. You can make a tea out of it that people drink. Then also, like when we would have like surgeries or things like that, she would make us tape an OSHA root over the wound to avoid infections. And so that was the reason I picked this up, is it just really gave me grandma vibes. So this is gorgeous as well. Great formula on this one too. 2 coats to get opaque. And you can just see it has a little bit more of like a gray leaning brown as opposed to some of these more red toned browns. I do enjoy this on my skin tone, but I do feel like some of this is a little bit more flattering than this. But overall, this is a really gorgeous polish as well, and I really, really, really enjoyed it when I wore it. So those are my 4 creams for the Mocha Mousse. Do you guys like chocolate mousse for dessert? I used to be very into it, and I feel like I don't really ever eat it or order it now if it's at a restaurant. It's just not, I don't know, maybe it's just I've gotten it out of my system. Then I have a couple of shimmers on this end in case you just want to be a little bit more fancy pants. And so first up is going to be another Zoya, and this is Amara. And it's sort of like a coppery, metallic-y type finish. I really think this color is super, super pretty. I don't know if it's exactly on point with Pantone Color of the Year, but this is not an exact science, you guys. That's the thing. It's not an exact science. It's more like a vibe science. Like, we're trying to give ourselves the vibes. I say this often. I'm all about the vibes. And so I feel like this gives the vibes of Mocha Mousse. So I think it's beautiful. It's very like deep and rich, and I like the like metallic finish. I think it's gorgeous, you guys. I'm really loving this color. I think this would be beautiful matte as well, like kind of give that velvet effect on the nail. So I think that was really beautiful. Then I didn't want to swatch this on the nail wheel, but I sacrificed for you guys because you guys are my peeps. This is OPI in Warm and Fozzy from the Muppets collection. This polish is one of my most prized OPIs in my collection. I ended up picking it up from a D-stash. There was someone getting rid of a ton of the OPI Muppets collection, and I did not have this one. My friend Catalina from Gotta Love Polish loves this polish, and so I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and get it. And you guys, this is so beautiful. It's like a gold shimmery metallic, but it has like a little hint of like pink shimmers mixed in, and I love it. I think it's so pretty. I think it's so flattering. It has like a very beautiful shimmery glowy effect, and it's so good. Sometimes when OPI puts out all these creams continuously, like a red cream and a pink cream and a red cream and a pink cream, I'm like, why don't we do this again? Why don't we do a burlesque collection again? Why don't we do a golden eye collection again? Why don't you give me another teenage dream? I wonder like if they switch creative directors or something like that at OPI, because I know Susie still runs everything, but it's like, who is helping Susie? Who's helping Susie decide what she needs to do? Whoever it was before needs to come back. And then last up, this is a little bit more green than brown, but again, we're in the science of vibes. I love this polish so much, you guys. This is from Kleancolor, and this is in Coffee Addict. I picked this up a few years ago at like a dollar beauty store. Everything in the store was $1. And Kleancolors stink, in my opinion, more than regular polish, but there's a few colors of Kleancolor that I'm like, I'll allow it. And this is one of them. I just think this is so beautiful. I've worn this a couple times. I wore it matte once. It was beautiful matte. It's beautiful shimmery. It's just beautiful. And again, a little bit more of like maybe an olive green as opposed to like a Warm and Fozzy, which is more brown, but gorgeous on the nails, you guys. Super, super pretty. Amazing, amazing polish. And overall, I'm really happy with what I selected. I feel like I have come up with a very nice Pantone Color of the Year palette. And I'm excited to, like I said, I think I'm going to pick one of these with a Pirouette My Whistle or Pirouette Your Whistle from OPI over. I just think that would be interesting. An interesting combination. So that might be what you see on my nails next. The goals. Let's talk about the goals. So far the no buy on day 9 is going okay. It's been difficult. I feel that you guys know I'm obsessed with pink, and Valentine's Day stuff is starting to come out, like clothing. I love a good like themed clothing piece. Target especially has this really, really cute pink and red cardigan that I've been eyeing, and I bought one last year from Target, and I'm like, you have one. Like, you have a limited amount of time to wear all this stuff as it is, and you don't leave your house. So that's what I've been telling myself to convince myself I don't need it. There's a limited edition Air Force One coming out for Valentine's Day that I'm just like, oh my god, this is so cute. Very tempted. Very tempted. I'm not gonna lie. I have a 2 years old, I think, Valentine edition Air Force One that's furry, red and white. So I'm like, you have those, and you've only worn them one time in 2 years. So like, I'm just trying to play these like mind games on myself. Then today I watched Hey Mercedes, or Mercedes, I'm not sure how she says it, on YouTube, just did a swatch collection, and she announced that she has a collaboration with Glisten and Glow. I was very excited for her because I think she's very sweet, and anytime anybody in the nail world like gets a chance to do a collaboration or anything like extra super fun, I'm here for it. So I went to check it out. The collaboration polishes are beautiful, but during that video she also swatched like a 3-piece trio from Glisten and Glow. I think I'm going to try and dupe that collection for you guys because I want it. I want all 3 polishes. They're so cute. So cute. So it has been difficult. I'm not going to lie. But I have held steady so far. I had heard today what my raise at work is going to be. And you guys, it's really good. I was very, very pleasantly surprised. #blessed. Usually I celebrate something like that with a purchase. So now I'm like, why do I do this to myself? But I've held strong. 9 days strong. No buy strong. As far as other goals, I've been oiling. I missed yesterday, but I have been oiling. I tried my new face products that I showed you guys one time. I've been doing my chapstick. I've been using my lotions and all that stuff. So I think I'm on track. You know, the month is still fairly new, but I do think I'm on track. And then my first manicure of January, I have a topper. Check that out. One polish goal out of the way. I am wearing Essence Dreaming of Love, I think it is. Or Thinking of Love. Topped with OPI's Take It or Leave It. You guys, this color combination. I'm calling this my Grandma Rolling in the Leaves mani because it's a grandma shade, and then Take It or Leave It is about leaves. So anyway, excited about that. I also have been walking, which I'm hesitant to announce a weight loss goal just because with all my health issues, like it's hard to be healthy in a sick body. And I'm torn on that. But I have walked 3 days in the last week. I took today off because today was my day to be on site at work, and it's just a really long day and I'm tired. But I'm planning to get back to it tomorrow. I've been walking 45 minutes. I tell myself I have to do at least 30 minutes once I get on, and then usually like my endorphins kick in about 25 minutes, and then I'm able to do the 45. And then the other goal I was talking to you guys about was reading my devotionals. And so a couple people asked for more information on them, so I'm just gonna switch them over real quick. I'm not gonna talk about any more polished stuff. So these are from Charles Stanley, and they are it came in a 3-pack. So my friend's daughter has the other one. If I can find the link for these, I'll put the Amazon link in the description box. But this one here is called Every Day in His Presence. And this one is the one, no, that is not the one. This is not the one I'm currently doing. I have not read this one yet. So the one I read last year, my friend's daughter has. Then my friend's daughter read this one last year, and I'm going to read this one this year. So this is Jesus, Our Perfect Hope. And this is the one I'm on right now. And so this came in a 3-pack, and every day you get, I'm a little bit behind, but I'm going to catch up. Every day you get like a title to your devotional here, as you can see. So January 6th was Truth in Profound Places. Then they give you a little Bible quote here, and then there's a whole reflection here, and then like a little prayer. So sometimes if I'm in a hurry, that's like all I'll do. Other days, if I feel like the verse is very much calling to me, or I have more time, I'll go into my Bible and then kind of read the verse before, like read the chapter to get like better context. And then I also use the Charles Stanley Study Bible, which I love. So the Charles Stanley Study Bible has a lot of the verses like sort of highlighted out, and then on the bottom, so like the top part of the page is your verses, and then the bottom section has like a notes section. And so he has a lot of like the verses highlighted out, and then you can go down to the bottom and like read more notes about the verse. Then he has like dedicated chapters just for like studying and like explaining more of like either like the history of the time, or this is like really, really, really important moment in the Bible, or this is a really important message that God wants you to know and understand. And you can read these like extra study chapters. And I really, really, you guys have enjoyed this Bible so much. So I will try and link that as well. It's a little bit pricey, but it's really good. I've really, truly enjoyed it. And I have really, really, truly enjoyed these. I've tried listening to Charles Stanley sermons, and I feel like in the sermons, he's very, very monotone. And he's an older man. He's since passed, I believe, but he's an older man at the time of the sermons I'm trying to listen to. He had like a podcast for sermons. The monotoneness of his voice and like his very seriousness in delivering the message is sometimes hard when I'm not in the mood for that. I feel like some other pastors give me a little bit more personality when they're delivering the message, and sometimes I feel like I need that more than just like cut, dry, monotone voice. But I do appreciate Charles Stanley. I feel like he's an amazing pastor. I feel like he used a lot of his like personal struggles in his life to really put out good messages. And so I have really enjoyed these, you guys. The funny thing about these, so I mentioned to you guys I got divorced. I haven't really talked in depth about like the circumstances of my divorce. I feel like it was just really difficult, and I think I had a hard time just trying to process it for myself and come to terms with it for myself, much less like putting a story out there for everybody or like sharing an experience. I feel like when all this was happening, I kept it very private. Like my sister, my parents, my kids, and a few friends like knew the full extent of everything that was happening. And as far as everybody else went, like I didn't even discuss problems. I didn't discuss separation. I didn't discuss any of that stuff because I felt like the situation was just so prone to gossip, and I just didn't want that introduced into mine and my kids' lives at that time because it was just very stressful. But I'll share a little bit just because it relates to the fact that like God always finds a way to get to you. No matter what. And it's just so strange. Or not strange, but it's just so amazing to see like how he will make sure that you are close to him, reminded of him, and things like that. So at the end of 2020, I had a cancer scare and I ended up having a hysterectomy due to that cancer scare. So during that hysterectomy, I was diagnosed with stage 4 deep infiltrating endometriosis, and I had the hysterectomy performed. They checked my uterus for cancer, which was negative, thank God. But I had a lot of my organs like fused together with endometriosis scar tissue. And so I had the surgery. I felt really good for about 4 weeks. Then about 5-6 weeks in, I just felt very sluggish. I felt very tired. I was getting dizzy. I was getting like exhausted. I felt like my progress like went backwards. So I was talking to the doctor about it, and he was just like, you gotta be patient, you gotta be patient, you gotta be patient. So I attempted to be patient. Then I went back to work. 6 weeks had passed. I went back to work, and someone there had gotten COVID. And then like the next day or 2 days later, I spiked a really high fever, and I had very intense body aches, specifically in my upper back. It turned out, so I thought I had COVID. Then I ended up passing a humongous blood clot. And like I said, 6 weeks had passed, so I was really freaked out, like where could this have come from? Because I really, in all theory, was supposed to be healed, but I passed a blood clot about that big. So my doctor was like, get into the hospital. They did an emergency CT scan on me, ran a bunch of tests, and they determined that I was growing an abscess. So I had an abscess growing in my stomach the size of a lemon. I was admitted into the hospital that same day, and I stayed in the hospital again for like another week. Very intense antibiotics and monitoring me for sepsis. I have never been that sick in my entire life. It was very scary. It was like COVID times. So I had to be alone. So it was difficult. I got released from the hospital. I had more antibiotics to take, like another like month of antibiotics to take at home. And then I had like follow-up scans to make sure that the abscess had shrunk. But when I got out of the hospital, I came home, and I was sitting on the couch, and my ex-husband was like, are you going to try to get better now, or are you just going to keep babying yourself? And I was like, well, my doctor put me on another 6 weeks of bed rest, so I guess I'm just going to keep babying myself. And I was really upset because that was just so hurtful to me after everything that had gone on. So he apologized, but things were very tense after that. So then I had my bed rest time, and then around that time my grandma was very sick. She stopped eating. She was in like a lot of pain. She was having a lot of pain in her feet, a lot of pain in her back, didn't want to eat. She ended up being diagnosed with blood cancer, and she did not want to like get any treatment. She was like, I'm 90 years old, I'm ready, like I lived a good life, I'm good to go, I don't want to do anything else. So I was taking care, or helping, take care of my grandma, visiting her a lot, spending a lot of time with her, still trying to recover. I felt like I never felt back to normal from my hysterectomy for about 6 months, just because of all the like complications. I had a family member die from COVID. During my grandma died, I had a family member die from COVID, and then one of my best friends also passed from kidney failure. All between January to May, May, I would say to May. So it was June, like second week of June. I had my final follow-up with my doctor from like my hysterectomy and everything, and I was actually feeling amazing that day. I remember I went to the doctor, he gave me the all clear. We decided not to like do any more treatments because I was just tired. Like they had suggested me to do some other things, and I just was like, no, I don't want to do nothing, I just want to relax. I remember driving to work with the windows down. I was jamming out some Justin Bieber. Life was amazing. But I thought it was weird because my ex-husband had never called to ask how my appointment had gone. So I called him to his work, but he never answered and he never returned my call, which was strange as well. So then this was a Friday. I got home. He was already home. And then I was like, you never called to check in on my appointment. And he was like, oh, I forgot, but I need to talk to you about something. So I'm like, okay. So then he was just like, I want a divorce. I had not seen it coming. I was very blindsided. And I remember just asking him straight out, like, are you cheating on me? And he was like, no. And I was like, I don't believe you. Are you cheating on me? And he said no. So I was really upset in my room. My younger son was home. My ex had gone into the living room. About an hour passed. He came into my room and he was like, I have a friend. But it's just a friendship, right? And I was like, yeah, okay. We went outside to talk because my son was here. And I remember I came in to get some tissue because I was crying. And when I went back outside, he was like disappeared. And so I walked around my backyard and I went around like the corner of my house to my side yard, and he was on the phone in the corner whispering on the phone with somebody. So when he saw me, he hung up. And I was like, is that her? And he was like, yes. And I'm like, so she knew that you were going to come home and tell me you wanted a divorce. And she knew there was problems in my marriage before I knew there was problems in my marriage. And he was like, yes. So the whole time that I was sick in the hospital and I was helping take care of my grandma and everybody was dying and I was just really struggling to like find some sort of like normalcy, he was talking to another woman at work. I feel like after that, like life was just chaos and craziness and insanity, and a lot of other things happened I won't get into, but he ended up moving out and renting an apartment, and then I would say about 6 months had passed and he had come back and was like, I'm done with this person and I want to try and work on things and I'm sorry. And I was actually sick with COVID at that time. And I was just like, I need to think about it. The kids ended up being here. He talked to them about things. And then I agreed to work on things. It kind of turned out I was the only one kind of willing to work on things. We went to therapy. He lied to the therapist. He lied to me in therapy. It ended up like I was being blamed for everything. And I was just like, I didn't cheat on you. I didn't make you cheat on me. Like, yes, we can have problems in our marriage, but like, you could just be honest. And so anyway, he ended up living here in a camper next to my house, probably for a year-ish. So this would make it 2022 at this point. So at the end of 2022, I had a bowel resection and endometriosis excision surgery at Mayo Clinic in Arizona. He was supposed to take me to that. Well, like a week before that surgery, he backed out, and he was just like, I don't feel like I'm well enough to do this, and like my memory is not good, and I'm having a lot of problems with my mental health. And I was just like, okay, you know. So my parents ended up taking me, thank God. And I was like, but if I'm gonna be like in a marriage and be by myself, like I'm just gonna be by myself, because what's the point, you know? Like, I'm going through all these things and I'm going through all them alone, so I might as well just be alone. Like, you're more trouble than you're worth. So I was like, I want you to move out. So okay, so while I was gone, he stayed. He took care of my dog, watched my house, you know. My son was living here, he was back from school, and so, you know, kind of dealt with all that for me, which I appreciated. But he was checking in on me often, like multiple times a day, which I thought was weird. But then I thought, well, maybe he's like finally realizing he's crazy. I don't know. So I ended up being in Arizona for 2 weeks almost, I think. I had some complications during that surgery as well, and so we had to stay longer. I ended up getting back home Christmas Eve, after like a 12-hour car ride, which was horrific. And he was very, very attentive to me, like waiting on me hand and foot, taking care of me better than he had during my hysterectomy surgery. And again, it was confusing, but I was like, well, maybe he just understands like what he's about to lose, or maybe, I don't know. And so New Year's Eve morning, he came into the house from the camper and he was just like, I'm moving out today. And I was like, really? And he's like, well, yeah, you said you wanted me to move out, so I'm gonna move out. I want to be back. I want to be moved to he was moving to his sisters. I want to be moved to my sisters before we go back to work in the new year. And I was like, okay. Like, I was very taken aback, just because, like I said, things, the way he was acting. And yes, I had asked him to move out, but it was just like a very strange time. I don't know how else to explain it. And so he packed up all his stuff and he left. And I was laying on the couch. I could hardly do anything for myself. I was on a restricted diet. I was very nauseous. I had, you know, a bunch of incisions in my stomach. They had torn my bladder during surgery. I was having a lot of problems with my bladder. And my younger son was here, and he did help me quite a bit. My parents ended up coming to stay with me. And my older son also helped out. So everybody, you know, pitched in and made sure I was taken care of. But I just found that to be, like, you literally sat here with me for a whole year. And now that I need you, you're just like, okay, I'm out. Then during, I ended up having some complications and had to go to the emergency room. And I had called to tell him, because I was still on his medical insurance, and I was just like, hey, I'm going to the emergency room, FYI. And he was like, well, I quit putting money in our insurance account, so you're just gonna have to pay for that. And I was like, when? Why didn't you say anything? And he was like, well, I didn't think it was fair that I was the only one paying for it. And I was just like, the kids could have gotten hurt. Like, what are you doing? The kid turned into a completely different person from the person I had married. And so the next day he called me and didn't ask me how I was feeling, nothing. He was just like, I'm gonna finalize the divorce with the lawyer, because we had started the divorce process and then he didn't sign the final paperwork. And so I was like, okay. Then when I got the paperwork, he was contesting paying for my surgery, and he wanted me to pay it out of pocket because it wasn't fair. Even though I had specifically told him, I'm going to do this. I'll get divorced first if you want, so that you don't, I'll get my own insurance. And he was like, no, do what you need to do. So needless to say, it was just very bitter and disgusting divorce process. But Christmas Day, we opened gifts, and he is the one who bought me these daily devotionals. I remember when I opened them, my kids were like, maybe you should keep those for yourself. Well, I was very excited because I had just gotten the Charles Stanley Study Bible. And I remember one day I was talking to him about how much I enjoyed reading it. And so he bought me these books. I have been reading them since I got them. And I feel like I find them so helpful when I get overwhelmed. Like, healing from this divorce has been very, very, very difficult. Very difficult. And dealing with it on top of medical issues and being abandoned in the process of like a very intense medical episode is something I would not wish on my worst enemy, honestly. And so these books, you guys, have been so helpful. I just feel like there's days that I feel like I'm drowning. It's not as much anymore, thank God. But there was days I was just like drowning, and I would just open this, and it would be so hopeful, so exactly what I needed to hear, a reminder of God's promises to me. I would get sometimes more into the Bible and, like I say, read the whole chapter, and there would just be something there that would like give me the boost I needed to finish the day out, or the boost I needed to get through an hour of the day. And I just think it's funny that God used my ex-husband for that. Considering everything that had happened. Like, when the Bible tells you like God uses all things good and bad for your benefit, like that is my example of that. Big time. Because I'm like, I would have never bought these for myself. Because I just wouldn't have. I know myself. And the fact that like the person that was literally, I felt like trying to destroy me is the person who gifted me this. Has to be God, right? I mean, like, who else could it be? And so anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys because I have seen so many ways that God has just worked through my life and worked through my circumstances, and like gives me just the tiniest bit of grace when I need it, because it's been a very, very difficult 4 years. Very, very difficult. But I'm here. I haven't gone into any sort of like mental breakdown for the most part. And I get through every day. It may not be the best day. It might not be the most amazing day. I might not be the most grateful for the day, but I get through the day. And He is the reason why. So that is it for this video, you guys. I feel like I dragged it into a Debbie Downer situation, but let me know if you are excited for Pantone color of the year this year. Does it remind you of poop? Does it remind you of milk chocolate? Are you excited to wear some Pantone inspired manicures? Let me know what you guys think of Pantone color of the year. And again, I will try and link my study Bible and my daily devotionals in the description box down below. Let's talk all things Pantone color of the year in the comments, and I hope you guys are having an amazing day. If you like this video, please make sure to click the like button down below. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do. Thanks you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Good night.